Today, we're diving into a health issue that's quietly reshaping the world: diabetes mellitus. Now, that might sound like just another medical term, but for hundreds of millions of people, it's their daily reality. So let's break down what's really going on. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this, just look at this number. In 2021, 537 million adults were living with diabetes. I mean, that's more than the entire population of the United States and Canada put together. It's a truly staggering figure, and it tells you right away this isn't some small niche problem. It's a global crisis. And here's the thing, it's accelerating. If we look at the projections, by 2045, that number is expected to jump to 783 million. You can see it right there. That's not just a gradual increase, that's an explosion. This makes it more urgent than ever to really understand what we're up against.
But what makes this growing crisis so incredibly dangerous is just how quiet it is. A massive part of this epidemic is unfolding completely under the radar. And here is the fact that just stops you in your tracks. About half, 50% of all adults with diabetes worldwide don't even know they have it. Just let that sink in for a second. For every single person who has a diagnosis and is managing their condition, there's another person walking around completely in the dark while the disease is silently doing damage.
So to really get what diabetes is, we have to zoom way, way in. We have to look at what's happening inside our bodies right down at the cellular level. Because at its heart, this is a story about energy. Okay, so what is diabetes mellitus? When you boil it all down, it's a disorder where the body has consistently high blood sugar. The technical term is hyperglycemia, and this happens because the body's entire system for managing sugar has broken down, a system that hangs on one crucial hormone: insulin. Let's use a simple analogy here. Imagine all the cells in your body are like locked houses, and they need fuel to keep the lights on. When you eat, your food gets broken down into a sugar called glucose. That's the fuel. This fuel travels through your bloodstream like a delivery truck on a highway. But it can't get inside the locked houses on its own. That's where your pancreas comes in. It releases insulin. Think of insulin as the key. The key travels through the cell, fits in the lock, and boom, the door opens and the fuel gets inside. It's a simple, brilliant system that keeps everything running. It's a beautiful system, right? But in diabetes, that whole process breaks down. The end result is always the same: too much sugar floating around in the blood. But the way the system fails can happen in two totally different ways. And this is where we meet the two main characters in this story: type 1 and type 2 diabetes. With type 1, the problem is the key itself. The body's own immune system gets confused and attacks the factory in the pancreas that makes the insulin keys. So basically, no keys are being made. With type 2, the keys are there, but the locks on the houses are all rusty and jammed. The cells become resistant to the insulin's signal. The key is in the lock, it's turning, but the door just won't open. So let's put these side by side to make it super clear. Type 1 is an autoimmune issue. It usually shows up in childhood, and it means there's a complete lack of insulin. So insulin injections are absolutely necessary to live. Type 2, on the other hand, makes up about 90% of all cases. It's all about that insulin resistance. It typically develops in adulthood, and the first line of defense is often lifestyle changes and oral medications. Okay, so we've got the what. Now for the really important question, the who. Who is actually most at risk here? Because understanding this is everything when it comes to prevention. All right, let's be real. There are some things that are just out of our hands. Your risk goes up as you get older. That's just a fact of life. If diabetes runs in your family, your own risk is significantly higher. And we know that genetics play a role. Certain ethnicities have a higher predisposition. These are pretty much the cards you were dealt. But, and this is a really, really big but, there is a whole list of powerful risk factors that you absolutely can change. This is where the power shifts back to you. We're talking about things driven by lifestyle: being overweight, especially carrying extra fat around the belly, not getting enough physical activity, eating an unhealthy diet, and habits like smoking or having high blood pressure. This is where the real battle is won or lost. And that brings us to the most important part of this whole story: the hopeful part. Because for many, many people at high risk, type 2 diabetes is not a done deal. It's not inevitable. We can absolutely fight back. So this is the million-dollar question, right? Can we actually stop someone who's at high risk from crossing the line into full-blown type 2 diabetes? Well, the science on this is actually crystal clear. The answer is a huge, resounding yes, and it comes with a number you won't forget: 58%. A huge, landmark study called the Diabetes Prevention Program found that people at high risk who made intensive lifestyle changes slashed their chances of developing type 2 diabetes by 58%. That's not just chipping away at the risk, that's cutting it by more than half. It's incredible.
So what was the magic formula? What did these people do to get such an amazing result? Well, it wasn't some miracle drug or a complicated surgery. It came down to two surprisingly simple, totally achievable goals. Number one, a modest weight loss, just 5 to 7% of their body weight. And number two, getting at least 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week. That's just a 30-minute brisk walk 5 days a week. That's it.
And get this, the benefits don't just stop. There's something that researchers call the legacy effect. It means that getting things under control early on creates lasting benefits that protect your body for years, even decades down the line. The hard work you put in now literally pays dividends for the rest of your life.
So, we've seen the unbelievable scale of this problem. We've gone inside the body to see how it works, but we've also seen just how powerful prevention can be. It all starts with awareness. Just knowing where you stand is the most critical first step. So the question this leaves us with is a simple one. What will your next step be?